Today we are going to be looking at the brand new Sonic the Hedgehog action figure released this year by Jakks Specific, and they're available exclusively at Target for $10 each. On the back of the box, it shows you that it has 11 points of articulation, and there's a description that says, "The world's fastest blue hedgehog. Sonic runs at top speed and can use his special homing attack ability to save the natural world around him." And then there's the description in different languages. And then they show you the other figures in this new action figure wave. There's Tails, Shadow, and Dr. Eggman. And now when I collected the bendable figures, I skipped Tails from the first wave and skipped Sonic from the second wave because I already have him. And I just skipped the third wave entirely because it was just the same figures from the first wave. So some of you might be asking, will I be getting all 4 of these figures? Yes I am. I do plan on getting Tails, Shadow, and Dr. Eggman. But for now, let's just review Sonic. Let's open him up and have a closer look at him. Warning when buying this figure is actually not easy to take out of the box, unlike the bendable figure. But first let's take a look at his accessory. Now at first I did not know if this was supposed to be the spring or if something else, but since there's this thing on the back, you can push it forwards. I'm thinking that's supposed to be the spring, like Sonic was like, to jump on it just like in the games. I do really like, because Wave 3 of the bendable figures had these like accessories where they had like footballs, American footballs, basketballs, all that kind of jazz, balls. And that was pretty good. And for these action figures, Wave 1 of the action figures, they finally have accessories from the games. No signs of any Chaos Emeralds yet, but who knows. Now before we take a look at the Sonic action figure, I'm just gonna talk about all the Sonic figures we've gotten over the years. So the first ever modern Sonic action figure we've gotten was released in 1999 from the Sonic Adventure line, released by Resource. And for what he was made back then, I mean, he's pretty good. He's a pretty good figure with a lot of charm. And then there was also a large 12-inch, I'd say. Like, there was a 12-inch version released by Sad Company from that same year. Exact same sculpt, though. And then there was the Toy Island figure that was released a year later from the Sonic Adventure line, but it was from, of course, Toy Island, a different company. And that figure was garbage. Well, at least his sculpt was garbage. And his articulation was super basic compared to, later Sonic figures. And he was re-released many times when Sonic X became a hit, because apparently every single Sonic item that was ever made around that time had to be Sonic X themed, apparently. But don't worry, because with their Sonic X line, Toy Island made better looking Sonic figures. They made 2 versions from the Megabot wave, and one from the figures with Emeralds wave, and the one with the Emeralds is probably the best looking Sonic figure Toy Island has ever made. Now before we talk about Jazzwares, Tomy, for a pre-order, if you pre-ordered Sonic Colors in the UK or Australia, you would have gotten a Sonic figure made by the company themselves. He was able to hold wisps, and he came with different wisps depending on which version of the game you bought, either the DS or the Wii version. And yeah, he had a pretty good sculpt. His eyes are a little weird, and he does have the silver joints, but aside from that, he's actually a really good action figure. Like, even his joints actually look a lot better than what a lot of Jazzwares 5-inch figures had. And speaking of Jazzwares, I think their first normal Sonic figure that's not a re-release was their 5-inch figure of Sonic, and that looked pretty good. His joints are not as apparent as, say, some of the 3-inch figures, and that's good. Even though he wasn't able we weren't able to get him in a running pose. But they did made a Superposer, which was a reissue from the Toy Island one, and it had much better plastic. It also had better looking eyes, because the Toy Island one, his eyes were really weird. And even though his joints are a little muscularly, it's not as apparent though. And then we get to the 3-inch figures, which their original Sonic figure has that problem with the waistline because they added a rotating waist joint for some reason, and it doesn't look that good when you rotate it. And the shoulders, well, not the shoulders, and the elbow and knee joints, they weren't as apparent because like most of the figures had like these ugly joints which kind of make them look like weightlifters. But when Sonic was originally released, his joints were not as apparent. Though a later version of Sonic came with joints that did look, a little off. But then in 2013, they made much better looking joints, and they re-released Sonic with those joints, and he looked so much better, even if he still has that ugly waistlining. And then Tomy made their 3-inch Sonic figure. It was sort of like a copy of the Jazzwares figure, but it didn't have as much articulation. It only had like around 5 points of articulation, but he was still able to give off a lot of poses, and he's a much better quality looking figure. And we have their Sonic action figure, so let's take a look at it. And I gotta say, he is perfect. His sculpt looks exactly like Sonic. His colors are very vibrant, all his details are there, nothing looks off. No ugly joints, no waist joints. Perfect. Now, in case you're wondering what kinds of articulation he has, his head rotates. No ball joint, though, but he does have universal shoulder joints that can go up and down and rotate side to side. He has ball joints in the wrists. He has universal joints in the hips, so you can get him into a very proper running pose. He also has universal joints in the knees, which can bend, but you can make him pose them like that. And last but not least, his ankles are also on a ball joint. So those are the kinds of articulation that this new Sonic figure from Jakks Specific has. In comparison, here is the bendable Sonic figure that came out last year, and you can definitely tell that the action figure is much better quality because, for one thing, the bendable figure is made of rubber, and you can definitely tell because he looks a little cheaper, and that's kind of fine. You could see that he doesn't have a painted on smile, while the action figure does. And here's the comparison between the shoes. Both figures, sculpt-wise, they look really identical, but honestly, I think the action figure looks better. I mean, like, even the nose. Like, the nose is a little long on the bendable figure, but the nose is just right on the action figure. Be careful, do not break the nose, though. I feel like I just have to say that. So yeah, I think the action figure looks better than the bendable figure, but, I don't know, the bendable figure is still really good, but yeah, the action figure just looks a billion times better. Another comparison, here is the 3-inch Sonic figure from Tomy. I think the paint, as far as, paint job goes, I think the Tomy figure is better, but when it comes to just a better sculpt and just more articulation, I feel like the Jakks Specific pulls it off a lot better. And what took so long to get the best modern Sonic action figure ever, to scale with your World Nintendo Mario figure? I have no idea. But they do scale well with each other, of course, because they're supposed to be the same height. I'm going to address one criticism. I know a lot of people, especially the ones who love the Jazzwares figures, a lot of people are going to be turned off that these figures do not have elbow joints. But I think that's kind of a good thing because they don't really need elbow joints. It's fine that they have knee joints. Jakks Specific really translated their knees really well. Like, they don't look off in any way. They don't look very realistic. It looks really nice. Even when you bend them, looks really nice. Really, when it comes to these action figures, it's all about those legs. It's all about those nice, skinny legs. So overall, I'm actually really happy about this figure. I'm really happy about the way he turned out. He's just a really nice figure. And his accessory, is also pretty nice too, but not as nice as the figure. So yeah, so any Sonic fans out there, I highly recommend you get this action figure. I mean, this is probably one of like the best modern Sonic action figures ever, along with a few others, and he's definitely one that you should put in any kind of display. Any Sonic display, any Smash Bros. Display, any Mario and Sonic display. I mean, he probably works in almost every single display ever created in time. But yeah, so I give Sonic... I can't find any flaws on Sonic, so I think I'll give Sonic an A+. Well, that is it for this video. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see my reviews on Tails, Shadow, and Eggman. Hopefully I can get them soon. And thank you for watching.